We're all taught that success is the goal, that the purpose of any system, a company, an institution, you name it, is to find a winning formula and then just perfect it. But what if that perfection isn't the path to more success? What if it's actually a direct, structural path to failure? Just take a look at any successful system out there. Deep down, you're going to find a repeatable process, a specific, established method for turning some kind of input into a valuable output. This is its engine. And the system's logic? It's relentless. It takes this process and it just starts to optimize it. Every little piece gets honed. Every resource gets allocated with more and more precision. The whole goal is to eliminate any randomness to achieve a perfect, totally predictable result. And this is where things get weird. A contradiction starts to creep in. As the process gets closer and closer to perfection, it also gets more and more rigid. You see, the system's ability to get better in one direction makes it less flexible in all the others. It becomes perfectly adapted, but only for one specific situation. Now, this isn't some kind of flaw or a bug in the system. It's a structural consequence. The relentless chase for efficiency builds a hidden weakness right into the system's core, a vulnerability not to making a mistake, but to change itself. So, how does this hidden weakness even develop? To get to the bottom of that, we have to look at how things start. What exactly is this so-called winning formula? And how does a system bake it into its DNA? The formula really starts with being crystal clear. It begins with a defined set of goals. From there, policies are created to guide actions. And finally, resources like money, people, technology are all lined up to get the job done. That's how the system knows exactly where to point all its energy. And this whole idea of making things formal, it took off. By 1979, almost half of all Fortune 500 companies had locked down their winning formulas into official strategic plans. It was like the concept itself was being turned into a well-oiled machine. Okay, but here's the problem. That machine is perfectly tuned for a world that's already gone. And as the world outside keeps changing, the price for repeating that old formula just gets higher and higher. Think about it. A new technology pops up. A competitor completely changes the game. The market's behavior shifts. Suddenly, the very problem this system was built to solve, well, it's just not a problem anymore. And a new, unrecognizable one takes its place. So what does the system do? Well, it doesn't get confused. It just follows its programming. When it's faced with uncertainty, it goes right back to its core logic. It runs its proven, efficient formula, but with even more intensity. It just doubles down. This is where the system's own history starts to work against it. Its past wins create this powerful pull to keep doing the same things that worked before, even though the reasons why they were successful have completely disappeared. And this is where we see the real paradox. Every logical improvement made to the old formula, every push to be more efficient, only makes the gap between the system's solution and the new problem even bigger, faster. The system just gets better and better at answering a question that nobody is asking anymore. Now, this whole process, this funneling of energy and behavior, it's not just something that happens in companies. It's a fundamental thing in complex systems. To really see it, let's picture a simple physical system. Just imagine a river flowing across a huge, flat plain. At first, that water can go anywhere it wants. It has a ton of options. But over time, little dips and bumps in the ground start to guide the water along a slightly easier path. A small groove starts to form where the current is just a little bit stronger. And as more and more water follows that little groove, it starts to carve it out, making it deeper and more defined. The path becomes a channel. The water has fewer choices now, sure, but the way it flows is way more efficient. So what's actually causing this channeling effect? To get that, we need to look inside the system. It turns out it's being pulled in two completely opposite directions by forces that just can't coexist. Okay, so on one hand, you have this constant push to just get better at what you already do. This is the safe path. It gives you clear, immediate results. It's all about high efficiency and small, steady improvements. And on the other hand, there's this pressure to find the next big thing. And that path, it's all uncertainty, far-off rewards, high risk, and trying to find some radical new idea. So when the system has to choose between these two, its very structure is built to pick the safe bet. It's built to favor certainty. And look, this isn't a mistake. It's the right logical thing to do, according to its own design. And that's the thing. This perfectly logical choice is exactly what springs the trap. The system's greatest strength,
its efficiency becomes the very thing that boxes it in.
So that pressure to refine what works, that's all about improving the game you're already playing. It's about honing your process, squeezing out more efficiency, and running a proven formula with more and more precision. And the other pressure, that's about finding a whole new game. It's the process of experimenting, discovering, and taking risks on new, unproven stuff. A healthy system needs both. But here's the catch. They're fighting for the exact same resources. Time, money, attention, you name it. Let's go back to our river for a second. Now we can really see what happens when things get out of balance. As the system keeps pouring all its resources down that one known path, the flow carves that channel deeper and deeper. And over time, that channel becomes a canyon. The path is incredibly efficient now, but it's also set in stone. At this point, getting out is basically impossible. And all of this leads us to one final and honestly pretty unsettling realization about how this kind of failure works. You see, the system isn't actually broken. It's not malfunctioning. This thing we're seeing, this inability to change direction, it's not a bug. It's a feature. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and it's doing it perfectly. The relentless optimization of a known, successful formula. So the real takeaway here is this. A system's greatest strength, its power to optimize and be efficient, is the very structural source of its greatest weakness. Being amazing at one thing structurally prevents you from discovering anything else. And that's not an accident. It's by design. Just like with our river, the end result is now set in stone. The canyon can't be uncarved. It would take more energy to break out and cut a new path than the system even has. The system is locked in, and it's going to keep flowing down that same perfectly efficient, once successful path, a path that's now completely irrelevant, right up until the moment there's nothing left.